Tetris. Based on the actual true story of the race to license and patent the video game of the same name, taking place in the late 1980s, it tells the story of how one man, Hank Rogers, was able to get and resolve the licensing disputes that brought Tetris to the Game Boy during the Cold War. Okay, I'll be honest with y'all, I feel like based on the true story it's going a bit too far. There are a lot of points in the film's story that showcase what actually happened during the race to get the handheld rights to Tetris, but I would say this was inspired by the true story, because even if it was based on the true story, this is a very overdramatic take on it, almost making this film a spy thriller rather than a biographical film. Like, you got a car chase and some serious and intense moments, and audiences will really think like, did this really happen? Like, all this happened for a single game? Again, the story is fine and all, and at least has some true parts about the actual story, but everything else is very overdramatic, almost as if this film sometimes completely ignored the fact that this is a Tetris movie. Then again, this is a Hollywood movie. It's not trying to stay true to what exactly happened. The acting was honestly fantastic. Taron Egerton as Hank Rogers was absolutely stellar. His performance was simply awesome, giving us this confident person who not only wants everyone to try out Tetris, but is also willing to sacrifice his entire life to secure the rights to it. And the rest of the cast as well did a fantastic job with their roles. Simply put, everyone really gave it their all with their roles, with many of the characters having some cliche yet strong personalities. The film's score is definitely one of the highlights of the film, as much of the inspiration is from gaming as a whole. Tons of 8-bit sounds that make it seem all gaming-like, and honestly really fits the atmosphere of the film. Plus, the soundtrack has a few Russian versions of some popular songs, and along with that, we have some original music from some popular artists, which all sound so goddamn good. But the film's score really takes the crown. The comedy is decent, not all of them are winners sadly, and if I'm being honest, the film didn't really have a ton of comedy. I don't even think it had comedy, to be honest. The comedy that it did show though was, albeit very poor. Very few were able to make me laugh, and again, the drama of the film is very overdramatic. Really makes you think as to why they had to make this film a serious spy thriller. The cinematography though looked really nice. A lot of the scenes were able to set the mood extremely well with its cinematography. Some of these shots genuinely look great, and honestly, even the climax looked really fun as well. And finally, the film's visuals. Throughout the entire film, various 8-bit visuals will be used to showcase what's going on, what is going to happen, or describing something. Various imagery of other video games will be used as well, and the way both the visuals and imagery were used were interesting to say the least. It really fits in with the whole late 1980s video game atmosphere or vibes. Tetris received generally positive reviews from critics, praising both the performances and soundtrack. Now, what are my thoughts on this film? Personally for me, I thought it was decent and entertaining. I think the overdramatic story was honestly the big problem for me. It wasn't necessary to make the story so overdramatic, all you had to do was detail the story of how one man got the rights to Tetris for the Game Boy. But I guess Hollywood wanted to make this biographical story into a spy thriller. But besides that problem and the smaller issues, it's still a fun ride. You got a great cast whose acting was fantastic, a phenomenal musical score inspired by video games as a whole, really nice cinematography and some cool looking visuals. Tetris is still a fun movie to watch. It's not bad for what it is. It tried its best to capture what actually happened during the race to get the licensing rights to Tetris, but if you're looking for a more accurate representation of what actually happened in the story, then this is just watching the gaming historian's video on the story of Tetris, as he goes into more detail as to what really happened. I'll give this film a 7.5 out of 10. It's definitely not a perfect film by all means, it still has its problems, but if you're looking for a fun and entertaining film, then this film might just be up your alley.